would like to welcome you today for another episode from our show, Anything Goes. This topic is a very sensitive topic. I thought about it more than once. Should we discuss it or not? Am I going to have frank and brave people to discuss it or not? And after telling them they were not happy about it, but they said, okay, if we have to serve in order for other people in the diaspora to hear about it and know about its dangers, then let it be this way. The topic is pornography. And I was reading something very interesting, which I would like to tell you before I start. You already embarrassed?
Wait, what you said?
Pornography.
Who said this? We're really talking about that? Oh, okay. We're really
They
good.
say the Attorney General's Commission on Pornography defined pornography as sexually explicit material designed primarily for arousal. According to some estimates, the industry generates between 10 to 14 billion a year in the United States. And the United States, by the way, is the major generator of this type of
Entertainment.
Entertainment to the whole
Porn.
world.
Yani. Get
So I want to ask you, how common, to your knowledge, among teenage and college youth, this type of problem?
It's very big. Honestly,
Very prevalent.
very, very big.
Yeah.
I think all people my age and younger have experienced it once in their lives. I don't know about girls. I know guys, all of them. It's scary, disgusting.
In order for us to include girls here, and I'm thankful that you came on the show today, Mary, maybe not in the same context, but do you know of girls that they may actually be interested to go into these sites for reasons or another?
I personally don't know any girls, but I think I've heard that porno now has become very prevalent and that it's very casual and that girls do it. I've heard that girls do it.
Michael or George?
I know of girls that watch porn.
Okay.
I know of girls.
Okay.
No, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
All right,
weird.
so the question here to you then, if you can make a prototype and almost a person who fits very well this type of problem, who will be almost an addict to this? What type of personality?
Honestly, there isn't exactly one prototype. I mean, all guys. If you don't think you fell into it, you're lying or you have a different preference. But I think a big part of it is just if you keep busy. A lot of it, I feel like a lot of times when people say they watch porn, it was because they were bored or they were lonely or they just had nothing to do, you know? I don't think we can say like, oh, he has to have brown hair, he doesn't play sports, you know? I don't think it's like that. Because a lot of guys, regardless of what you do or
So boredom,
you don't have a lot of stuff to do. You could be lonely or you're just, you're horny, you know? It's nothing serious. I'll be honest.
yeah. George, among the people you know that they are experiencing this type of problem, what other problems do you think they have, whether in school life, family life, friends' life?
Well, there's everyone watches porn regardless. I don't know why you guys, everyone watches porn. And I think most of the people watch porn.
Yeah, you can't say everyone.
But a lot of people watch porn.
Okay, so keep going.
And I think that there's no specific type of problem that they're facing. I think porn is just a want for sex, and everyone goes through that at one point in their life.
No, but my question is actually a little bit different than that. What do you think this will cause to them should they become addict to pornography?
Well, actually, I heard about a case where someone who was addicted to porn got married, and then still continued to watch porn, and it caused serious problems in his relationship, in his marriage life.
This is very true, actually. I read the same thing. The people who are hooked to this type of problem sometimes cannot give it up to anything. and marriages could suffer from this. Any other thoughts about problems due to pornography? Mary, did you hear or study, learn, read?
I heard that if you continue to watch porn, you get addicted. Then when you do get married, your wife does not satisfy you enough for like to reach like she just doesn't satisfy you because you're so used to like all these hotter women on the computer, perfect body, everything like, you know, and your wife is not gonna do half the things these people do. Okay, let's just put it out.
So let's be frank. What's wrong with that? I'm not. You guys are telling me don't have sex before marriage. Now you're telling me don't go to these sites. I mean, that's too much. I'm a young man. I have surge of hormones. If I am a girl and I want to see these things because I want to know what girls do to please men. So what's wrong with that? Yes.
I mean, I think, I'm not sure, but I think like having that peak of pleasure outside of like marriage is like not right. Like that pleasure God gave us as a gift to be enjoyed in the context of marriage. So if you're doing that on your own, you're kind of like disrupting what God had planned.
Michael, any opinion?
No, you said something about like what could porn addiction cause. I know somebody who has one, or like at least it's not an addiction, but I know like it's definitely prevalent in his life, and I think it consumes his life, it consumes his thoughts, it consumes, you know, his plans even. Like there was a point in time where he would base his day around watching porn. You know, it becomes that crazy that literally your life becomes engulfed or encompassed by this whole idea of watching porn.
So he doesn't want to go out. He doesn't want to be with friends. He may not be doing good in school. He basically staying home all the time.
Yeah, it gets to a point where he's literally the only thing on his mind is that he doesn't care about church, doesn't care about his friends, doesn't care about this and that, you know?
I want to actually tell you about something I read and I put here for us to get to know more. Dr. Victor Klein apparently wrote a lot about this, a psychologist. He said in his view there are 4 stages. Amazingly, and I have been a physician all my life, I didn't know that stage 1 is addiction. You don't actually walk in smoking and you become addict the same day. Unfortunately, these things you could become addict from stage 1. Stage 1, in his opinion, is addiction. So you wonder what's stage 4? Stage 2, he called it escalation, which, does anyone have a clue what is that? Escalation means that the material that you formerly produced your high feelings in a way is no longer does. And you want more and more in order for you to view harder, to spend more time, to get more dirty material because you want escalation. Yes?
It's kind of like building a tolerance to.
Yes. Actually, you are saying building tolerance. Stage 3 is called desensitization, which means that the material that was originally perceived as shocking, immoral, repulsive, illegal, now is normal, acceptable, and a common. And this is amazing because I remember when I was a child, there were sins. When I do them, I felt so bad, I repented right away. When I'm older, those sins are easy. I don't think of them anymore. This is the desensitization. We become desensitized what really we should repent about. So he washed it, he was shocked. Now it's common. So not only he is addict, not only he is escalating the material in its dirtiness and its amount, but worse, he is actually not feeling he's doing anything wrong. Stage 4 is the stage of acting out, which means he wants to apply what he sees. He wants to do into very perverted things. And I don't think the program is allowing us to go into more this. Now, you guys talked about effects on marriage, and he also wrote about that. He said, this material can cause increased marital distress and separation and divorce, decreased marital intimacy, increased appetite for more graphic types, and as you said also, really asking for things that are unacceptable by a spouse. Now, we cannot stop here. It will be really unfair. Our God is a God of mercy, God of second turns, U-turns, second chances, new beginnings. So what can we do? Now, some of us, some of you are addict to pornography. Let's face it. This is a very prevalent problem, and it's very important that we discuss it. Your parents may not like to discuss it. I'm not sure if your church discuss it. It's our duty to discuss it. What can we do to help you, and what can you do to help yourself getting over pornography? I want to help from you guys. What do you think?
Well, I think what Mike said, like people who watch pornography, usually they're bored or they have a lot of free time. So I think number one is just like get yourself out of the house, do something, keep yourself occupied, even if it's just like hangouts or whatever.
There is a father in the past said, one of the scholars, that the lazy mind is a laboratory for the devil. Like he makes all his experiments in a mind that is just lazy and watching whatever, whether it's TV, porn, or other things. Yes. So number one, get yourself busy, mind and physical, right? Yeah. Good. Number two.
Number two, just set up a schedule on your own. Just, like I wake up, I do this. I read the Bible, I brush my teeth, I go to the shower, and then I hang out with my friends. I come home, I go to sleep. Just set up a schedule, because honestly, it's gonna get tiring. You're gonna get tired. You're gonna get to a point where I can't do this anymore. I need to get off this computer.
I'm still asking you, and I need help in this category. I need specific steps for one of our friends who are really an addict of pornography. One, and I thank you very much for that, keep yourself busy, mind and body. Yeah. Two, say it again.
Set up a schedule. Sit down with yourself, sit in your room, get a notebook, make a calendar, set up a schedule, and say, at 1 o'clock, I'm going to do this. At 2 o'clock, I'm going to do this. And then every night where you don't watch porn and you don't do this stuff, you say, wow, I didn't do it today. That's great. Give yourself a check. Or anything. Just like a motivation system. You're excited that you didn't do it today. It feels good. You didn't sin today. You overcame your biggest sin today. And every day you keep on doing that until you try to get out of what you're doing. And talk to your father confession.
Very important. So you said two things, and I'm summarizing the three now. Keep yourself busy, avoid boredom. Yeah. Two, make a schedule for your evening so you don't have anything on the fly that you plan. Three, father of confession. Can you give it to George, please? Sure. George, other opinions to help me get out of this problem?
Well, one of the priests in our church talked about this. He said that sex, porn, is kind of like a taboo. So some people like to feel like the excitement of breaking the rules and seeing that stuff. A way to break that excitement is by making it in the Egyptian culture, everything that has to do with sex is
closed off.
Yeah, and embarrassing. You can't talk about it. If you do talk about it, but not in a dirty way, in a just politically correct way.
So open up, expose it to your father of confession, your counselor, in a clean way in order not to be a taboo.
Exactly.
Any other points?
Yeah, you also, when talking about sex, you shouldn't use dirty words because a lot of people do tend to do that.
Any other things? I want to tell you a couple of ideas that Johns Hopkins did for their own employees. Have a specified goal when you log in on the internet. You don't just log in and say, let me see what's going on. You have a specific goal before you log in. Two, notice your internet usage time. If it's increasing, you know the pattern. If there is a specific website you go to, that's a pattern. If you want to do it when there is no one home, that's a pattern. Three, change your internet routine, meaning add another activity in place of the internet activity. Like I think you and Michael said, maybe I wasn't playing piano, now I'll play piano. I wasn't playing basket, then I'll exercise, and so on.
I have a question. I don't want to be that guy and be like the devil's advocate, but I know a lot of people are going to be thinking this, and a lot of people maybe even here are thinking it, but this is all assuming that the person who is watching porn
Wanna
wants to
stop.
change
Yeah.
and wants to change.
Okay, so the first thing they tell you, know the harms of it. So the harms of you become withdrawn, without friends, losing grades in school. And actually, a psychologist, you would go to and you tell him, I used to be an A student, now I'm hardly passing. One of the things he will ask you, do you take alcohol? Do you take drugs? Do you do pornography? It's a pattern. Psychologists know it for a fact. So know you are losing in your physical life, in your educational life, and mainly in your spiritual life.
I want you to, the next time you do watch porn, I want you to look at the time you started.
Yes.
And then look at the time you end.
Excellent.
Because that time, you can look at yourself and look at, it feels like 5 minutes and then it'd be like 3 hours.
Exactly. This is number 4. Include internet time. Log in a schedule and say, I went in at 9:05. How come it's 1 a.m. now? I was planning to have hour to check my emails. What made you put this website? Yes.
I also heard about a program. I think Abuna Michael mentioned it in one of his lectures. It's like an accountability program. Like I'm sure you could Google it up. Yeah, and you have like an accountability partner, so that every website you check, they get an email like showing every single website you went on, so that if you go like if you really want to go cold turkey and not go on any more sites, and you do log on, then your accountability partner will see that you went on a pornography site, and then there's the
Very
guilt
good
factor and the embarrassment.
Who's the accountability partner?
You pick someone. You
you
pick a
pick a
friend or maybe a
friend or a
father
father
confession or
There is something called create an external structure to support your internet habits, meaning that it's difficult for you to log off unless you schedule the internet time on a time that you have to leave home, right before school, for example, right before a meeting or an appointment, right before a basketball practice. So you almost by virtue of compulsivity, you are going to leave the internet. The next point is recognize what you are missing. Recognize how much you are missing spiritually, physically, intellectually, family-wise. People are becoming nerds in front of the computer, leaving their family life. Confront feelings of loneliness. Be upfront, say what happened to me. I wasn't like that. And lastly, explore difficult emotions, and if you have to, find support. Talk to someone. Talk to your father of confession, as you said. Talk to a counselor. Talk to a Sunday school teacher. As you said, keeping it as a taboo, that's the worst thing. And I want to end by this verse, and maybe one of you can help me explaining it. And this is in 1 Thessalonians, and St. Paul wrote, "For this is the will of God." Everyone asks, what is the will of God? For this is the will of God, your sanctification. That you should abstain from sexual immorality, that each of you should know how to possess his or her own vessel in sanctification and honor, not in passion of lust, like the Gentiles who do not know God. So next time you go in this, remember 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 3 and 4. The will of God is your sanctification. The will of God for us to be sexually morally. The will of God to avoid the passion of lust and to keep our vessel preserved for Him. I'm sure we have not covered all aspects, and I'm very excited to receive your emails should you have problems in this category. We pray and hope that we touched upon a subject that you could open up with other people. Until next time, have a good time. Thank you so much.